Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. But I just wanted to share a little story. I've spoken about this a few times before, um, but I wanted to bring this out once again. Okay, now this story takes place about 4 years ago. Okay, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I found when I was going through my drawers the other day, I actually found the paper that I wrote down this story, and I'll explain why a little bit later. But I wrote this down so I would not forget it. Now I really haven't forgot it, but you know, I wrote it all down so in the future I'll remember the whole story the way it went. Okay, because for example, um, let's see, what can I use for an example? Let's use this. If you have a dream, right? You'll remember the dream that you had when you wake up. You'll remember it. Yeah, yeah. I see what happened. I see what happened. But then here we go. 30 minutes later. Now you try to think of the dream. Oh, I can't remember. And the odds are you're either never gonna remember it, or later on in the day it's gonna come back to memory. That's how it is. All right. So again, this happened 4 years ago. So just because at the time I knew that I wasn't going to be able to remember all this information, I wrote this down so I remember, because this is going to be another person describing to me what they saw. Okay. Um. This is about the chariots of the Most High here. Okay. Now a little background information would be, once again, I've been in the truth for 6 years. Okay. So I came across the Apostles of Great Millstone 4 years ago. Okay, I've been teaching. Once again, I've been in the truth for 6 years. I've been teaching on YouTube for 3.5 years. But the years before then, the 2.5 years, I've been listening to other truthers, not GMS. Okay, but then when they came across GMS, they started bringing up that the UFOs are the chariot to the Most High. So at the first when I heard it, I was like, that's a little sketchy right there. I thought that was Satan and his angels in there. But then I watched the videos, I got the information. I was like, this could be true. Now it doesn't literally say UFOs in the scriptures, because the term UFO means an unidentified flying object. So obviously it's not going to be in the scriptures. Okay. Um. Yeah, you can hear the school children getting out from school, because there's a school just out that way. Anyway, um. Yeah, I'm gonna share this story, and then I'm gonna read some things from the scriptures to show how this proves that these UFOs are the chariots of the Most High, man. And the ironic thing about this is this story took place literally the same day that I started to look into this UFO stuff, man. Okay, as in these UFOs being the Most High's chariots. They're literally the same day, man. Okay? Alright, so the way this started, and again, this is, my brother had this dream of these UFOs. Alright, so I had him describe to me what he's seen. Okay? And I know this is real because, he was about 7 years old when this happened. Because remember, this was 4 years ago. Alright? And, sometimes, you know how children are. They'll have nightmares and stuff. And they'll just forget it after they wake up. But the story goes, I end up getting woken up by him. He comes in my room. He wakes me up, and I can see how afraid he is. Like, I mean, literally, I've never seen him that afraid before. Like, I could literally see the fear in his eyes over the dream that he's about to describe me. Um, So I got the dream written down here. Okay, so he comes in, he wakes me up. I can see the panic on his face and the confusion and the fear. All right, so he describes to me, it says, um, now let me point this out real quick. When he says he's seen the UFO, I have it written down here and outside the window of my room. But when I say my room, I actually mean, my room on where I used to live, because he lived in the same place as me. So he's seen the UFO outside of my window. Okay, but I have written down mine, as from his, from him explaining. But just so you know, when I read that, it's referring to my window, not his. Okay. So anyway, it says I woke up and looked out the window and seen a ship that had crystal shaped and metal and glass on the top. It was shining purple light into my brother's room. Now again, that brother's room, that's talking about my room. Okay? So this ship, this UFO was shining purple light through the blinds into my room. The UFO was next to the window. Now I have some side notes because it was a short story, but you'll see how this lines up with the scriptures. It says the UFO was next to the window. Smoke, listen here, smoke was coming out of it. The crystal had blue in the center. It was in the middle of the night. It was so shiny, it was glowing, like it was generating heat. And that was the little discussion we had. And then, after that, he calmed down and we went on with the rest of the day. But I was like, yeah, I mean, that right there, it's evident, man, that those UFOs are the chariots. All right? So again, I'm going to read this again, and then we're going to get into the scriptures. Now, if you remember, if you ever read the book of Exodus, you'll know that when the Lord led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, it speaks about a cloud that basically enfolded itself with fire. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, it was a cloud by day, but a pillar of fire by night, the scriptures say. Okay? And now what is that cloud? Was it a literal white cloud in the sky? The answer is no. That was a UFO, man. That was God inside of that UFO. Okay? So I'm going to read this again, and then I'm going to show in the scriptures how this completely lines up, man. Okay, so this is just a personal testimony of how these UFOs are the chariots of the Most High, man. All right? Now, it could all be a coincidence, but hey, man, it's, in my eyes, this all adds up, man. This all adds up. So I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to show the scriptures that support what he told me. And he knows nothing of the scriptures, okay? Just to point that out, by the way. All right? And he don't even believe in aliens to begin with, okay? Just to point that out. It says, I woke up and looked out the window and seen a ship that had crystal shaped and metal and glass on the top of it. It was shining purple light into my brother's room. The UFO was next to the window. Smoke was coming out of it. The crystals had blue in the center. It was in the middle of the night. It was so shiny. It was glowing like it was generating heat. All right, so now that I've read the dream, okay, which the scriptures tell you that in the last days the Lord said that I put my spirit upon all flesh. Okay, it says that your sons and daughters they shall prophesy and have dreams. It says that, which I've had many dreams of this stuff. I'm sure a lot of you brothers has as well, and that's just proof that we're in those times, man. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse. We don't need all of it, but let's see. I'm going to start at chapter 1. I read from verse 4 all the way down to verse 21. I might skip a few verses if we need to. Let's see. says, "And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came of the north, out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of four living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one of their faces, and every one had four wings. And their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet was like unto the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings. On their four sides they had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one together. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. For as the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man, and the face of a lion on their right side, and they four had the face of an ox on the left side. They four also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces, and their wings were stretched upward. Two wings of every one were joined one to another, and two covered their bodies. And they went every one straight forward. Whither the Spirit was to go, they went, and they turned not when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and the appearance of lamps. It went up and came among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Alright, now let's stop there for a second. Alright, now what are these creatures? These creatures are talking about the angels, man. Okay, and you'll notice if you watch some of these UFO clips, man, alright, you'll notice that they'll even tell you these things go so fast that they can't be man-made, man. There's no man-made flying vehicle, so to speak, or aircraft, I suppose is a better term, that can move at the speed that they can go. They can fly in one direction 1,000 miles an hour and come to a complete stop. Or they can fly 1,000 miles an hour one direction and then immediately turn. Okay, a man-made craft can't do that. Okay, so these UFOs are absolutely out of this world, man. Now they're not aliens because the world is flat. Okay, Earth is flat, man. So there's no invaders coming from Mars to take over the world. That's all science fiction. Okay? Well, that's a whole nother topic for another time, so I'm not going to get into that. Okay? But these UFOs are the chariots of the Most High, man. Just a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2012, but I could be wrong, maybe 2015, that they caught a video, and you can find this on YouTube. A bright UFO was hovering over Jerusalem. Okay? And then they'll show you in that video, they're sitting there watching it for a few minutes, and then immediately it disappears. Like it shoots up into the air, man. Alright? So fast you have to slow the video down to see it actually go up. Okay? And literally, quite literally, if you blink, you're going to miss it. Alright? So, what are in those crafts? The angels are in those crafts, man. As we just read, their appearance. Okay? Let's go on. Verse 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his four faces. The appearance of the wheels. Now these wheels are talking about these UFOs. Okay, it says the appearance of the wheels and their work was like the color of beryl. And they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work were as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Is that not how they describe these UFOs, man? And these children's movies, man? And even TV shows, they show you they're like a massive wheel object. Okay, a massive round object. Okay, just like the scriptures saying. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. Now, what is that talking about? You know, the depictions of UFOs, they always have the lights on those UFOs, okay? Like little round areas, sometimes triangles, but usually round circular windows where you always see light appearing out of these windows. Okay, that's what that's talking about there. It says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whatsoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Wherever was the Spirit to go, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood still, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Right. So that's how these UFOs move so fast, man. All right, because these creatures, or when it calls them creatures, but it's really talking about the angels there. The reason why they're in those vehicles is because, for one, the scriptures tell you, if it were possible, they shall even deceive the very elect. That's why almost everybody, when you ask them if they believe in aliens, a lot of people say no, but the people say yes, they'll say, yeah, I believe in aliens. So the elite are getting people ready to react in a certain way. Okay, have you ever seen the movie Independence Day? They got that from the book of what is it? Second Ezra's chapter 13. Okay, go read Second Ezra's 13. That's Independence Day right there. Okay, so they get these movies. They get the idea of these movies from the Bible, man. Okay, just another example, man. I seen a video from Elder Apostle Dahar. He was talking about a movie by the name of Brightburn. Okay, so what I did is I watched what he said about the movie, and I was like, yeah, I got a red box down the street from me. I'll go rent the movie. So I got the movie yesterday. I watched it twice because it's that good, just as he said it was. And yeah, they got that idea from the Bible, man. That's spiritual power right there. That's in the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Just to name one verse, man. Okay? So, a lot of these superhero ideas and stuff, they get that from the scriptures, man. Okay? Because even the Lord, who they call Jesus, he had superpowers, man. All right? When he appeared to the apostles after he was crucified, there's one verse where he's talking to them, but then it says, as they look away, and then they look back again where he was, then he disappeared. So he had superpowers, man. Okay, so they got the idea of superheroes from the scriptures. Okay, once again, read Jeremiah the 50th chapter. Okay, and then you'll see how it all connects together. Okay, so let's see. There's also another verse I wanted to get, and then I'm gonna call it the lesson. As I said, I don't want to make it too long. I just wanted to share this because I thought this was a good thing to get out there, man. All right. Let's see. Psalms 104 and verse 3. Who lays the beams of his chambers in the water, who makes the cloud his chariot, who walks upon the wings of the wind. Right. So those clouds are talking about UFOs, man. Okay. So there we have it. Okay, the UFOs are the chariots of the Most High. Okay, so I just wanted to share that little story with you, Akim. I hope that was edifying. Feel free to share this video if you'd like to. With that being said, I'm going to say shalom. I'm going to let it play out to 20 minutes here. So I'll just let it sit for like 10 seconds.